Hey everybody, this is Rice Bonds Montana DeYoung, back here with you with another video. I know these are coming fast and furious now, but I had a couple of packages come in today. There was one that I was particularly interested in opening and seeing for myself, and also sharing with you all. It came unconventionally in a box like this, so I sliced it open, but I hadn't removed any of the bubble, so it's possible that the card is just underneath here directly, or maybe there is actually a bubble mailer to open it in. So I have no idea how this is packed. Okay, so, alright. This is more securely packed than I had anticipated. Goodness gracious. He left nothing to chance, did this collector. And I guess while I'm opening this package, I can talk a little bit about this really interesting collector in our Facebook group of guys who collect 90s baseball inserts. He actually put together the entire set, or nearly the entire set, of the SP Game Bat Edition piece of the game autographs. He showed it one day in our group, and it was just stunning to see. You know, he had the Ken Griffey Jr. autograph and the Ken Griffey Jr. parallel at a 25. He had the Barry Bonds regular, the Barry Bonds at a 25. And I mean, it was just a spectacular sight to see that set basically about 90, maybe 85% complete. Just the amount of years, patience, dedication it takes to put something like that together and be that tantalizingly close. It's just something that, as somebody who's only collected Bonds for about 3 years, can't really imagine. But, of course, anytime you see a sick card of one of your favorite players, or your only player collection, you are going to start thinking about what the chances are that you could someday get those cards from that collector. And so I'd actually been in discussions with this person, who goes by the name Kevin, and he had been talking about the frustration of completing the set, the last few things that are just sort of nagging at him, and I asked him if he would be interested in potentially breaking up his set and selling me his Barry Bonds. As I was in the midst of talking to him about this card came up on eBay. And actually, I have actually been in contact with another collector, privately and directly, whose collection this was in, and I passed it up one time before. In fact, that other collector who sold me this card also had another copy of the Bonds gold parallel at a 25, hand numbered. But I was sort of talking to Kevin to try to figure out where his head was at in terms of whether he was willing to sell, and although it didn't shut the door completely, I didn't get the feeling that he was prepared to sell, and I wasn't going to pressure him to do something that sort of emotionally wrenching, just for my own benefit. So, you know, I took it easy and decided, you know what, I'm going to just grab this card now. It's a beautiful card. It looks like it's in pretty decent condition, and most importantly, the autograph is extremely clean and not streaky. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, for autographs, the most important thing is that the autograph itself, the ink, has got to be basically perfection. If it's not that, then it's almost not worth getting that card. Even if the rest of the card is a little dinged up, like the Millennium Marks here, you know, it's a well-loved card, but that doesn't bother me. And this is Bonds' first ever licensed autograph from 1997, when he still had the BBS style signature. Then 4 years later, 3 years later in 2000, that was his signature, and then a year after that, 2001, his signature hadn't changed. So these two are from the same era, but regardless, and regardless of the sort of material that Bonds actually signed on, you know, this is closer to paper than anything. This probably has a little bit more of a laminate because it's a little bit more modern, and this is just a pure plastic sort of layer the kind of layer that we're used to now seeing in refractors. Okay, so I just wanted to move the extra bubble wrap out of the way, so I will do an edit or a cut there. But I wanted to continue with the story. So after I had gotten that card in hand, I was back in touch with the same collector again this recent weekend, just talking cards, and somebody had posted another player's gold parallel in the Facebook group that I'm always talking about with you guys, and it was just amazing. And Kevin responded that he was actually thinking about potentially breaking up a set, and really, that was the first time I heard him seriously consider such a crazy notion, such a crazy idea as to break up a set that's that difficult to put together. So I messaged him again, thinking, hey, like if there's any chance that you do move it, you think there's any way that you could move those cards to me? Because I don't think there would be anybody who would appreciate it more than me. Maybe just as much, but nobody more. And we talked a while, and pretty soon, to my surprise, he sort of seemed to have made peace with the fact that he was going to move the card. And so I tried to put a deal together with him, because why wouldn't you? I mean, what an opportunity. And I can't wait to show you what cards came in. I mean, by this point, I've pretty much taken all the suspense out of it. But it is a long story, and the card that I'm about to show you is pretty spectacular. Wow, look at that. The gold parallel of this card right here. I mean, do you have any idea how difficult it is to find this card? Like, the fact that 2 of these have come across my desk in the past month is absolutely unbelievable, because you could go years without seeing a copy of this card come to market. And this card is unbelievably clean on the front side. Look at that. 20 out of 25. Oh my goodness. This is a crazy pickup. I have no business swooping in and grabbing the gold parallel of the piece of the game autograph set. So, okay, that's crazy. That blows my mind. And the fact that the front is so immaculately clean, free of micro scratches, free of obvious dings to the corners or to the edges. I mean, I love a clean card, I love a clean looking card, and this is pretty darn clean. I'm not a grader, so I actually don't know what number grade this card would be in contention for, but I'm just looking at the 4 corners now. I don't see too much white, maybe a slight touch over there on that side. I mean, this is a black backdrop, so I don't think you can really make it out on the camera. And over here, I mean, who knows? This is such a clean card. So I went for the Hail Mary and asked if he would be so kind as to maybe take an offer and listen to a price. And he did. And I put out a price that I thought was fair. And he was so gracious about it. He said he agreed that it was a fair price, that he understood that bonds had sort of shot up recently, almost exponentially. It was almost as if he had some sympathy for the fact that I was dealing with a player that, was a lot cheaper only a few months ago. And so the number I was throwing out was maybe unthinkable just a few months ago, but was totally within range now. And in fact, I think that if this collector had gone to the open market with it, just put it on eBay and let it run, I think that the ending price had a good chance to be higher than what I ended up paying. And of course, never let a good opportunity go to waste. I was talking to him anyway, so I asked him if I could add on to that purchase and just grab both of his bonds, because that card is pretty clean on the front, but on the back right or left bottom corner there is kind of a ding, and I didn't really know about it, and I didn't really even process it as I was shooting the video. But as you can see right there, it's a little bit lifted on that corner. So while this is just a spectacularly beautiful card, otherwise, I mean, not even otherwise, but period, I figured I have another chance to maybe get an upgrade on the card, and I would just pick the one that I thought look better to my eye, and then sell the other one. So Kevin was really gracious in sort of negotiating for the second card. He did take this card out of its protective case to sort of show me that the corner there and the corner up here wasn't absolutely immaculate. But I thought if there was a chance that this card were somehow in better condition, or the autograph was in better shape, that I would potentially keep this one and then maybe move the one you see out there in the background. But right now, I think it's pretty apparent to me that in terms of the condition of the card, this card is in better condition. So I will just have to find a buyer for this card in the long run. But I mean, it's really difficult to go wrong. You know, even though the style of autograph is the same for all 4 of these autographs over here, you know, there's obviously going to be variance in the way your hand is when it signs, even if it has the muscle memory of an autograph like this. And it's a treat, really, to find a particularly legible autograph. This one, in terms of the style that he's using, is really, really clean. I mean, the first B is really, really smooth, and you can even make out Barry. He took the time to, scribble out Barry up at the beginning there, very cleanly. Whereas here, he kind of just sort of gave up in the middle there, and then his hand sort of cramped up. The S just sort of was cattywampus. And over here, gosh, these are 2 other gorgeous signatures. I think both of them are above reproach. Without knowing which one is which, to my eye, actually, this signature is a little cleaner, a little bit rounder, and just flowy. And I can't even remember anymore which one is which. Oh, great. Okay, great. So the one that I like more card-wise also happened to be the signature that I like more between the 2. Because I'm looking through the face of the camera right now, the face of my phone, I couldn't really see which card was the one I already had and which one was the new one. So great. Well, right in real time in front of you guys, I've made the decision that I'm going to keep this one, and I am going to move this when I find a buyer who will be willing to buy a huge card like this. But anyways, there's a couple of cards that came in this week, but this really was the one that I just couldn't wait to get. I mean, this is really a momentous autograph. I ran into Nate, a fellow bonds collector and friend, at a card show recently, and he said to me that he thought that I was very, very focused in my collection, that I knew what cards I wanted, and I kind of didn't really hesitate much to go after them, and I wouldn't get distracted by, other cards. Now, I don't know how much that's true in terms of being distracted by other cards, because I do have the attention span of a baseball card collector, which may not be the highest in the entire world, let's face it. But these 2 cards, side by side, I'm just beside myself. It's so beautiful. These cards are so beautiful, and I can't believe that within just a couple of days I was able to land both. I just couldn't be happier. These are so sick. Oh my gosh, I am so lucky. Alright, well, sorry about this gushing, guys, but I'm just so elated about this. Alright, I have some other packages, so I'll maybe shoot another video, but until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.